Right, last night I played a live game with Aurelia, and it proved that the core idea is sound. The core idea of the creatures, the tokens, the goblins, that all works. It just needs some fine tuning because I have some cards in it that don't do anything. If they came out, they would really enhance the deck strategy, but the deck needs to be faster. It needs to get to its strategy. It really needs to do what she wants to do. So with that in mind, I'm going to be showing you what I'm going to be taking out. Let me put it right here so you can see her. There we go. Okay, first thing I did is I broke down the deck and put it by CMC. So at one CMC I've got Land Tax, Latent Tutor, okay, that works. Skull Clamp, that works. Last Ditch Effort, that did, so I had to waste it. On turn 2, my buddy played his, it wasn't the Swarm Lord, it was some other Tyrannid commander. He played her, and on turn 2 all I had was a 1/1 token. So when he went to go put a +1/+ encounter on her for the combat trigger that she has, I used Last Ditch Effort, sacrificed my only 1/1 token, my only creature, to kill his commander. So it's not really what it's meant to do, but it worked. So Last Ditch Effort is good in this deck. It shows that if I have more creatures, if I need to burn somebody harder, I can. Soul Ring, that stays in. Soul Snare, this could be Swords to Plowshares, so I have a combat trick, but kind of like the idea of it sitting around giving people something to think about. Now we go to 2, so Boros Signet, that works. Angelic Renewal. So this has to be in play and has to see some of my creatures die in order for me to trigger it. I can't get anything back that's already dead before it arrives. It doesn't do anything else. Yes, it feeds Sarah's Sanctum, but that's really not enough for its inclusion. So I'm taking out Angelic Renewal. In its place, I'm going from 2 CMC to 5. I'm putting in a Karmic Guide. So Karmic Guide, at least it flies, it can beat, it's got protection from black. Yeah, it has Echo, but if I need to, I can pay the Echo. Otherwise, I get a creature back, full stop. So it always works. So Karmic Guide is going in. Mark of Asylum, I should probably take this out, but I've got Blasphemous Act in the deck, and there are enough random ways of dealing direct damage to creatures among my friends' decks that I still feel I should include it. If my buddy plays Grayson Kellermorph, the Tyrannid guy that does direct damage, if he plays his direct damage deck, I'm going to want Mark of Asylum. Planar Birth, okay, the deck's one of the chief cards is Goblin Trenches, sack lands, create tokens. This will get those lands back. It doesn't do anything else, only costs 2. It will push me back into my lands, so I'll keep it. Deflecting Palm, good combat trick, keep it. Arcane Signet, of course, keep it. Darkside Extortionist, this is on loan from Kirvek. Aurelia still doesn't have her own Darkside Extortionist. I'm not sure if I should buy one now, if I should buy list, trade for one now, or if I should wait to see what MH3 has. I don't know if this is the sort of thing that they would print in Modern Horizons 3 or not. I really don't. But I don't know where else they would reprint Darkside Extortionist. Maybe he would work in the Thunder Junction set, because he is a pirate, he is kind of a thief. So I'm not sure if I should go ahead and get one now or if I should wait. But anyway, she's going to be going offline until I get some other cards that I want for the deck. And maybe I'll just wait on him a bit longer and see what happens. So he is in the deck, but she doesn't have her own copy. Goblin Bombardment, oh, this is fantastic, this worked. Adeline, she worked. She she was how I killed Cube last night in one of the games that I did win. Most of the games I lost with Aurelia. It's not tuned, and that's what I'm doing now, is tuning it. But Adeline, she's nice. Archaeomancer's map it really doesn't do anything for this deck. It's beautiful. I love the full art foil here. I go find 2 basic planes, and then I've got this burgeoning with a conditional. I've got conditional burgeoning. In multiplayer, it would be better if I can stay under everybody else's lands. It would be better, but I only stay under people's lands if I get the trenches out. So I'm taking this out. I'm taking out Archaeomancer's map, and then in its place, I'm putting in Get-Do Slinger. I haven't played him for a long time. I bet a lot of you lads have either never seen him or forgot about him. He was a beast around Legacy. I think it's called Type 1.5, then Type 2. Anyway, with my friend playing his little 1/1 toughness commander, even after he got the combat trigger and put a counter on her, if I'd had Get-To Slinger, I could have killed her. So I'm going to experiment with Get-To Slinger and see if there's enough small creatures that I want to employ him with against. Okay, Krinko. Krinko just works. Goblin Trenches, of course, this is a key card in the way I've built the deck. I've got land tax in here, so I can put my hand full of lands after I get below other people's land counts. So I can go find more lands, put them into play, make more tokens, attack. And then Planar Birth, of course, gets my lands back. Sword of Light and Shadow, yep, it works. Sword of Fire and Ice, yep, it works. Goblin Rabble Master, it works. Passionate Mons, didn't get him in play, but he's a token generator, and I want to go wide with this deck and make tokens, beat my opponents, so he stays. Intimidation Bolt, yeah, this is nice. It was funny. I thought it would save me. It didn't. All it did was stave off the inevitable for 1 turn, but it's a good inclusion in the deck. It prevents somebody from attacking. If it's 1v1, they don't attack me. If it's a multiplayer game, they just don't attack. The fact that they can't attack me is the primary reason, but they can't attack anybody. War Leader's Call. I've got these tokens. I need something that pumps them up. And when I get more creatures, of course, they deal damage to my opponent. So this doesn't do anything on its own, but it fits the strategy of the deck so well, I'm keeping it. Wheel of Fortune, you can see it's not in a sleeve, so I've already made the decision to cut it out. And you might be wondering, you're cutting Wheel of Fortune? You're cutting your only draw spell? I mean, you got Skull Clamp, what are you doing? Here's what I'm doing. I'm cutting Wheel of Fortune because it fills everybody's hand. So let's say I get some stuff that I want. And one of my opponents only had 2 cards in his hand. The other 2 had 4 each. So I'm refilling their hand, and the guy that only has 2 is really making out, unless I make him get rid of the counterspell he was banking on. So I'm taking this out to put in something that fits the theme of the deck and gives me incremental card advantage. It's not as sure and as reliable as Wheel of Fortune, but it will work. So I'm going from 3 to 5. I'm going up the converted mana cost scale, which is what I didn't want to do. I'm putting in Aurelia Law Above. I actually had her in the deck last night. Didn't get her in play. So for 5, I get a 4/4 Angel with Flying, Vigilance, and Haste. Whenever a player attacks with 3 or more creatures, and remember I have Angel's Trumpet in here to force people to attack. So anytime anybody attacks, I would get a card. So let's say on a typical 4-man pod, if 2 of the people attack on their turns with 3 or more creatures, then I'm drawing 2 extra cards effectively each turn. An extra one on mine because I would be one of the ones attacking, and an extra one on somebody else's step. So it's not a mass dump of 7, but it's repetitive. It does what it does. So Aurelia, the law above, is joining Aurelia, the war leader. Brimaz, he fits the strategy very well. He stays. Fate forgotten. I need ways of taking things out instantly. This does it, and it exiles it. So if anything is indestructible, it just takes care of it. Blood Moon. I don't know if I should keep this or not. I really don't. I've geared my mana base with the idea that it would come into play, and I've geared my mana base so it hurts me as little as possible. But it really depends on how many non-basic lands the other lads are playing. It's the same thing as Mark of Asylum. When it's good, it's fantastic, and otherwise it's just kind of there. It just sits in your hand and looks at you. But at least it's pretty. At least I like looking at it, so I'll keep it for now. Squee, yep. He did good work last night. He was one of the reasons. So Adeline won me one game of the. I think I played 5 with Aurelia and I won 2. So Adeline won one of those games. Squee won the other with the War Boss. So War Boss stays. Don't mind that. This is the cat being an idiot. Fluffy shithead. Aura of Silence. Another way of dealing with artifacts and enchantments at instant speed, plus it slows down my opponents. It doesn't advance my position. It doesn't push damage. It stays for now. Sword of Feast of Famine. Yep, it stays. Angel's Trumpet. So all creatures get vigilance, and they have to attack. At the end of everybody's turn, any creatures that they had that could have attacked but did not become tapped, and that person takes a point of damage. This doesn't do anything really. It's got a symmetrical effect where every creature gets vigilance, but it does do damage. It's not dependable, but it does work, so I'll keep that. Basri Ket. I'm not sure if I should take him out or not. I need to take out some more things. So he makes a creature indestructible. Last night I drew him in one of my opening hands. I did not have any other creatures, any other early creatures. Even after mulliganing, I kept what I had to see how it would work. So if there's no creature, okay, I can +1 him. But he's still wide open to be punched in the face. Then whenever one of our non-token creatures attack, I create them. Do I want to keep Basri Ket? I'll keep him for now. Roas, God of Victory. Yes, I'm keeping the God of Victory. That's for damn sure. I got him in play last night, and he did stuff. Lena War Leader stays. Anointed Procession. I'm taking this out. You might think I'm mad because I'm taking it out when I have a token strategy. Creates more tokens. But the thing is, it doesn't do anything on its own. It costs 4. And I need more things that put the tokens into play. If I don't have the things that put the tokens into play in the first place, it doesn't matter if I can double them. I'm just getting hammered because I have an enchantment that does nothing. So I don't really want to, but I only have 63 slots for cards because 37 slots are land. 62. Aurelia has 1 slot. The lands are 37, so that's 38. So I have 62 slots for cards. And it's tight. Let me tell you, it's tight. So Anointed Procession is coming out. In its place, I'm going to put in Hordling Outburst. So I would rather this be a creature, but this will get me 3 1/1 goblin token creatures reliably. Smothering Tithe. Same thing with Throne of Procession. Okay, this is neat because it taxes my opponents. Problem is I kept forgetting about it and I had to go, did you pay the 2? No, okay, so I have a created treasure token. In a 1v1 game, it's less than stellar. In a multiplayer game, it would be much better, but it doesn't do enough on its own. So I'm going to take out Smothering Tithe, and in its place, I don't have the card. I want Hero of Bladehold. Hero of Bladehold costs 2 colorless, 2 white. She's a 3/4 with a battle cry. So whenever I attack with 3 or more creatures, my creatures get +1/+0 until end of turn, and she creates 2 tokens that are attacking with her. My LGS does not have a foil one, so I need to order a foil one off of MKM. So Smothering Tithe will come out, and that slot will be open pending the acquisition of a Hero of Bladehold. Fireman Avenger, yep, I liked her. Ogre Battle Driver, I need more ways to give my creatures haste. I don't really have enough. I only have 3 ways in the deck of doing that, and one of them I'm thinking of cutting. So he stays. Settle the Wreckage. Yeah. Excuse me. This would have been great last night when I got attacked with a bunch of huge Tyrannids, but I didn't have it in my hand. But since it can save my ass, it's going to. Heliod, God of the Sun. He really doesn't do enough. He doesn't. The other Heliod, Suncrowned. It sounds like a bunch of surfers. That would be better. So I'm going to take out Heliod, God of the Sun, because he just isn't. Perforos, yeah, he does work. I can give my creatures fire breathing, essentially, and he does damage to my opponents every time I create tokens, cast creatures, do the stuff the deck wants to do. So he stays. Zuriel, did not see her at all in any of the games I played. She's still one of the ways I have of giving my creatures haste. She can only create a single 1/1 Red Devil token, but she can still create the token, and she gives haste to my creatures. I could put in, I believe there's a red Concordant Crossroads. I believe there's a red enchantment that costs 1 red. All creatures gain haste. I don't want that. I want my creatures to have haste. I want my opponent's creatures to just suck it up and get pummeled. So she'll stay for now. Caravan Negotiations. Yeah, so since my creatures don't have haste, unless I get one of my haste enablers out, I still need ways of hurting my opponents because the deck needs to go fast. It really needs to be fast. And I should still cut more, but I'm doing the iterative changes. So when I have a bunch of creatures, if they don't have haste, I can still tap them to do damage to my opponents. Grinko, yep, he does good work. Beacon of Destruction. I'm not sure if I should keep this or not. I like that I can instantly blast something for 5. But it does cost 5, so I have to hold that up if I'm going to use it as an instant. Which in this deck I keep wanting to cast creatures. So for now, I'll keep it. Noblest of War. This is hilarious. Last night against Cube, so I had a bunch of 1/1 soldiers, and he cast some creature or something. I forget, some Necron bullshit or Tyrannid bullshit. He cast some card that attacking creatures get -1, -0. So he thought it was kind of funny that my soldiers, when they attacked, they'd be 0/1s. And I said, and I was holding this in my hand, looking at it, and I said, "Are you sure about that?" And on my turn, I put down Noblest of War, and my soldiers became 2/1s. So that stays. Balefire Liege pumps the team, does damage. He stays. Urbrask's the Hidden. So I have 4 ways of giving my creatures haste. I keep forgetting Urbrask, so he has to stay. Siege Gang Commander. I can do direct damage. I get tokens. I love them. Increasing Devotion. It's efficient for 5. I get 5/1/1 human creature tokens. I would much rather they be soldiers or goblins, but they're not. I could put in Conqueror's Pledge, which is 6. So it's 3 and then 3 white, and I get 6/1/1 core soldiers. But that extra white pip, sometimes that could create problems, I think. So I'm keeping Increasing Devotion. If it turns out I need the soldiers more, I would change it for Conqueror's Pledge. Knight Captain of Eos comes into play with tokens, and I can fog. He stays. Inferno Titan. Oh, he did good work. I actually got the Fiery Emancipation out and him. So I had the Fiery Emancipation out before him. So when he came into play, he didn't deal 3 damage divided as I chose among up to 3 target players' creatures. He did 9. And when he attacks, he does another 9. So he stays. Austere Command. I need some kind of I don't know. I've got some direct damage. I've got Blasphemous Act. I've got targeted artifact and enchantment removal. Do I need the mass removal? Do I really need it? Against some decks, yes. Against other decks, no. Oh, this is tough. Against some decks, this would be absolutely stellar. So this, I will consider. I'm not cutting it completely, but I'm considering it. Cavalier of Flame. 5, of course, 3 red pips. One of the ways of giving my creatures haste. Then I can loot. I can throw away any number of cards I want when he comes into play, then draw that many cards. When he dies, he deals damage to each opponent and all their planeswalkers. I'm going to keep him for now. Fire Emancipation. Yep, this doesn't do anything on its own, but it buffs everything that it buffs so efficiently and so well. It's staying. Sun Titan. I love Sun Titan. Aurelia's Fury. Dark damage. Stays. Elspeth, Sun's Champion. I need to cut some of the stuff at 6, but she's so efficient. 6, I get 3 tokens. I can destroy all the big creatures. I need some way of destroying enchantments or artifacts, though. I don't know if I need the mass wipe. So, our Austere Command is being argued away. So, keep Sun's Champion. Gisela, this is the top of the mana curve, but we all know it doesn't cost 9. We all know it costs maybe 3, 4 at worst. Usually it just costs 1 red. That definitely stays. Gisela, Blade of Grill Knight, so that's the real top of the mana curve. But she's so good in this deck. 7 mana for 5/5 flying for a striker that doubles my damage, cuts the damage dealt to me in half. So she stays. Right, so I've got 3 cards I know are going in. Aurelia, who's already sleeved up ready. Karmic Guide. Hero of Blade Hold. So I have these slots open. I have... So that needs a sleeve. Blade Hold needs a sleeve, so that cuts those. Wheel of Fortune's out of the sleeve. So I have 4 slots open. One of them will be taken by Legion Loyalist. Legion Loyalist is a 1 mana, 1 red mana, 1/1 goblin soldier. I believe he has haste. And when he attacks, and I think it's battalion, so I think I have to attack with 3 more creatures. Creatures I control gain first strike and cannot be blocked by tokens that turn. So So I've already ordered one. I just need to wait for it to come in. So that's that slot. I have 3 more slots open. I'm thinking of putting this guy in. It would just be funny. And with all the tokens, with all the stuff that I have, he could get really big really fast. Couldn't he? 2 mana. And let's say I cast him on turn 2. On turn 3 I play Squee. Attack with Squee. Squee creates a goblin token. So he's a 3/3 on turn 3. Which, okay, that's not very impressive. I get it. But on turn 4, I cast another goblin. So he'd be a 4/4. Squee attacks again. Let's assume that the goblin that Squee originally generated didn't die. So that would be he'd be a 5/5 on turn 4. And then if I get Krinko out and I start cranking Krinko, say on turn 5, Krinko, give him haste, double the goblins, so there'd be 6 goblins, him, plus Krinko, 7, he'd be an 8/8. So let's try the bunny corn. So that takes that. So I have 2 more slots. I have to figure out what to put in. If you have any ideas, if you have any suggestions, do let me know. Let's look at the mana base. So the mana base needs some work. I don't know if I'm going to keep this or not. As you can see, I've cut Heliod, but I'll probably replace them with Heliod Sun-Crowned. I've got Smothering Tithe, Procession, and Angelic Renewal. So I'm down to about 10 enchantments. That's not really reliable enough for Serra Sanctum, and I need more red. I'm putting in Battlefield Forge again. Yes, I originally wasn't going to put it in because if I have Fire Emancipation out, I'm going to Lightning Bolt myself. It's just a risk I have to take. And I can just tap it for colorless and tap my basics for red or white. I don't have to Lightning Bolt myself. Other things, Evolving Wilds, so she will also come offline until I get her Sacred Foundry and her Arid Mesa. I realize I really do want the Shockland in here, even though I do have Blood Moon, and I want her on Color Fetch Land. Right now I have 12 plains, and I have 13 plains, 12 mountains, and I wasn't getting my red reliably enough because of this disconnect, where all my early stuff is red, but more of my basic lands are white because of Blood Moon. So I need more multiple sources. So Battlefield Forge will go in, Sacred Foundry will go in, Arid Mesa will go in, and I'll see how that works. And Arid Mesa, of course, will replace Evolving Wilds. Sacred Foundry will just replace the plains. And that's it. That's the changes I'm making to Aurelia. A lot of changes. My idea of having all these cute little enchantments, it was an interesting experiment. I did get some new cards in setting it up. I bought the Archaeomancer's map for Aurelia. Everything else I already owned, so I'm not sure where this is going to go, but I know I'll figure out something. Regal Bunny Corn in Aurelia. Haha, attacks twice. Yeah, I can give him a sword and smash people that way. Alright, let's get this posted.